Good morning, everybody. Today I'm going to do a review of the Sony A7 IV. So this is a camera, and we got the camera when it was released in December, but we waited to do a video because we wanted to actually get some time using the camera, which we thought was important to give feedback. So I'm going to tell you my kind of favorite things that I like about the camera, and I'm going to tell you my dislikes about the camera. I'm not going to focus on just the specs. You can go read about specs somewhere else. So anyway, when you purchase a camera, there's two different ways to purchase a camera that I'm aware of. You can buy the body by itself, which is just this part of it, and then you can buy the body and the kit lens. This is a kit lens. We very rarely use this kit lens. We purchased it with a kit lens because at the time they were sold out of just a body only, and I thought I might get some use out of the kit lens, and the kit lens was a little bit at a discount. It wasn't like terribly expensive. But with that said, I rarely use this kit lens. But it is nice to have around, because when you see what I use most of the time, it's going to make sense that I need something like this. The lens that I use mostly is this one right here. It's the only other lens that I have, actually. And so this lens right here is the 1.8 14mm G Master wide angle lens. Yeah, really nice vlogging lens. Probably the best one that Sony makes. I can do some amazing photography with this lens, but it is a prime lens, meaning that it doesn't have a zoom. You only get really one focal distance. So anyway, that's the lens I use mostly. I don't use a kit lens, just so you know that. So the things that I really like about this camera, I like all the dials on the camera. So there's a dial here, there's a dial here, and there's a dial here. So there's 3 dials that you can customize. So what 3 things do you think that you would want to set on a regular basis? Pretty obvious. ISO, the aperture, and the shutter speed. So that's exactly what I mapped those 3 things to. Now, with that said, I don't find myself changing the aperture with that setting very often, mainly because, back to this lens right here has a aperture ring on it, meaning that I can turn the dial on the lens, and this kind of supersedes the dial. But when I'm using the kit lens does not have an aperture ring on it, so the only way to adjust it is with the camera itself. So yes, that's what I do with the dials. I'm so happy with the dials. The quality is fantastic. The quality on the camera is really great. But with that said, if you're shooting video especially, be aware that there are all kinds of combinations that you cannot do without getting a Sony Express card. And I'm talking about the memory card that you stick on the inside. So this is like the standard SD card that you can get like Best Buy or wherever. Like this is like a $30 SD card or $40 SD card. Make sure you get the right speed and all that kind of stuff, but they're relatively inexpensive. The Sony Express Type A, which is what you need if you want to unlock all the capabilities of this camera, is almost like $400. It is like an expensive SD card, super expensive SD card. So that's one of the things I dislike. I dislike having to buy a super expensive SD card just to use all the capability of this camera. I wish that I could somehow magically use a cheaper SD card, but I get the fact that it has to be super fast. So just be aware of that. Okay. Then the flippy lens obviously is really cool. A lot of the earlier Sonys, the flippy lens came on the top, and obviously the hot shoe would get in the way. Now let's talk about the hot shoe. I do have something on this camera that is not normally on the camera, that does not come with the camera. And you're going to be like, well, what is this little kind of doodad on top? Because obviously, it doesn't look like a microphone, but it is a microphone. So this is a Bluetooth receiver, and on my chest I have the remote part of it, which is a microphone. And you can tuck it under your shirt. They make these little like kind of wire up dealies where you can wire yourself up and make it all kind of super concealed. But the cool thing about doing this is the audio, first off, is going to be a lot better, which is important for YouTube. And then the other thing that is really kind of nice about it is when you walk around with a camera, somebody might think you're doing photography with a camera. If you're just like, say, walking through a restaurant holding the camera, they might think that maybe you're not even taking any pictures because you're just walking through a restaurant with it. Where in fact you're shooting like 4K video with it, and you have like a wide angle lens, and you're getting like the whole entire room. So it's a lot kind of less inconspicuous, if you know what I'm saying, because you don't have this big kind of fluffy, humongous looking monster lens, and you're not picking up all the sound around you. Hopefully you're because the mic is on you, hopefully you're picking up your voice or whatever it is that you're wanting to record. So that's really cool. That So most of the time what I'm doing is I leave it in photograph mode. I'm snapping photographs, and then when I want to shoot a video, I just hit the video button. It's very, very convenient. You don't have to mess around with the camera much. So I really, really, really like that about the camera too. So the batteries. The batteries are amazing. This is a battery right here. Normally when I shoot with like GoPros or even like that Canon there, I normally take like a bag of batteries, as dumb as it sounds. I'll carry like 5 or 6 GoPro batteries with me. I'll carry 3 or 4 Canon batteries with me. The battery life on this Sony with these little batteries is amazing. I would almost feel comfortable going out the door with just the battery in the camera without even taking an extra battery. But I would say don't do that, like put an extra battery in your pocket, like 1 extra battery. You just need 1 extra battery because I don't know, these batteries, like they seem like they're the quality of like say 2 or 3 of the batteries out of my Canon. I'm sure Canon has better batteries now than the ones that are with my camera or GoPros. I don't know. They're expensive, but they seem really, really, really nice. So that's nice. They only give you 1 battery, by the way. So most likely when you buy your camera, you're going to want to buy another battery, at least 1. I bought like 3 more batteries, and I feel kind of dumb because what am I going to do with 3 extra batteries when I found out they're so good. I don't ever think I'm going to ever use 4 batteries in a single day. I don't think that's even feasible to think. They do not give you a battery charger, as dumb as that sounds. So you buy an expensive camera and you get 1 battery, but they don't give you the battery charger. This is what the battery charger looks like. You buy it extra. You can, however, charge a battery using the camera. So you plug a cable on the side of the camera, and then you can charge your battery. It's not the end of the world that you have to do it that way. But to me, I charge my batteries using a battery charger. They don't give you the SD cards either. They don't give you a bag. It would be kind of neato if you had some kind of little cheap little Sony bag, but they don't give you a bag. If you buy like an expensive lens, they give you a bag for the lens. But if you buy an expensive camera, they don't give you a bag for the camera. Yeah, kind of geeky. Now the other thing is this is a bigger camera because it's a full frame camera. I really, really like that, and you're going to be like, well, why do you like the camera being bigger? I mean, well, it fits in my hand nicely. I like the fact that the Canon was smaller. I could fit it in my pocket easier, especially if I put like a pancake lens on it. However, there was one super, super, super annoying thing with the small camera that I had, the small Canon, that is not a problem with this one. And the super annoying thing was when I put it on a tripod or a monopod and I had it mounted, I could not open the battery slot. That was the most annoying thing in the world. I don't have that problem with the Sony, and you don't know how often it's been when I've wanted to film something, and I had the camera all set up, and then I realized the battery was like lower than expected, and I thought, well, I want to run this camera for a little while and like let it just like time lapse or something, and I have to take apart the whole tripod and take the little adapter off the bottom of the camera just to switch the battery. That's so annoying. And I think even the SD card was down there too, maybe, if I remember right, with the battery. So just to switch even an SD card, you're taking apart your gimbal or taking apart your stand or whatever. That is just annoying. I love the fact that this camera is big enough that like the little mount on the bottom for the tripod does not get in the way of the door. That is so awesome. Then I was looking at the A7C, which is the predecessor to this camera. It's also a great camera. I don't want to talk down about it. That's a compact version of this camera. The A7C has a viewfinder that's like offset and it's pushed in because it's meant to be smaller. I've actually found that I have gone back to using the viewfinder a lot. So I'm so happy that I bought a full frame camera that actually has a full size viewfinder. And I'm so happy I did not buy the A7C that has a little tiny itty bitty viewfinder. I've seen other people kind of comment about that on the A7C where they're like putting their eye up against it and they cannot get it close enough because the viewfinder is so small. Then the other thing that I really like about this camera is when you turn it on video mode, and there's a setting that you can set. I don't know if you can see it, but there's a red bar that it puts around the entire frame of the camera. And the red bar basically tells you that it's recording, so, for old people or whatever, you don't end up not recording a video that you thought that was recording because you didn't see the little red light. I really like the fact that it has that. So anyway, I am very, very super impressed with this camera. I produce a lot of really, really amazing shots that I could not produce with my other cameras that I've used earlier. Maybe with a Canon if I really fuss with it a lot. But anyway, I'm very, very impressed with the camera. We will do more reviews of this camera and more details on it. but let me show you at least some usage of the camera. Here's an example of the active stabilization that I've turned on. It's the image stabilization for the camera. I am hand holding the camera. I don't have a tripod, I don't have a gimbal, I don't have a monopod. It's just the camera in my hand with a kit lens, and I'm just tracking the dog. And you can, my hands are pretty stable, but I'm not like a professional photographer. And you can notice that you don't see really any shakiness on this footage. So I wanted to let you see what the active stabilization looks like. This is some footage of me walking around with active stabilization turned on, and you can obviously see all the camera movement with me walking. So the active stabilization is not like the hyper smooth on the GoPro, where you can like completely level the horizon and make it look like you have a gimbal. But it does seem like it helps out quite a bit when you are like not walking and you're just moving the camera around. It seems very good at that. It's just not great at when you're walking with the camera. So here's a variety of photographs that I took, and like I was saying, we just switched to Sony, so I don't have like a whole portfolio of pictures to show off using the Sony yet, but this is some of the recent stuff that we did with this camera, and this is the A7 IV. Some of it is with a kit lens and some of it is with a wide angle lens. It just sort of varies on shot to shot. And then I'll throw a time lapse at the end that you can watch. And this time lapse was shot using the kit lens that comes with a A7 IV. So hopefully this helps you out on making your decision on if you want to buy an A7 IV or not. And we'll do like some reviews later on that are a little more in depth on different features and stuff.